The single most useful programming exercise I ever did was also the one I hated the most. Writing C code with a pen on paper. When I was a young mathematics student, one of my first university courses was called Introduction to Programming, where the computer scientists in our faculty threw us, innocent and naive mathematicians, straight into the deep end. In the Eastern school system, we believe in immediately applying pressure so intense that it weeds out the unworthy students faster than they can chug their welcome drinks at the regular semester launch parties. So 15 minutes into the first lecture, we were already dereferencing pointers left and right because everything else was trivial, at least according to our professor. And by the way, this was the same in our math courses as well. The very first sentence of our linear algebra class was, let F be a field, then V is a vector space over F if, and just like that, our heads went spinning. I remember having classmates so technologically inept that they could hardly manage to navigate in Windows XP, the most popular OS at the time, let alone compile C code. So the introduction to programming class felt like a punishment for most of us. And the rock bottom of our whole miserable experience were the coding on paper exercises, where we had to write functioning C programs with a pen on paper. Coding on paper is antithetical to how we write code in practice. Whenever I'm working on a project, I never move in a straight line. I refactor, I bugfix, I go back and forth. These days, large language models write most of the code I ship. Even the animation you are watching right now was written by Codex, my coding agent of choice. But when I actually write the code myself, I use Jupyter Notebooks, where I take a shot at implementing the function, I test it on a couple of examples, and then fix all the dumb mistakes I've made, perhaps even prompting an LLM or two meanwhile. None of that is available on paper. No autocomplete, no syntax checks, no code formatter. With pen and paper, you can't run the script, you don't have autocomplete, and once you've written the code, you can't really change it. It's linear, uninteractive, and tedious. Coding on paper felt like a punishment. Is there a point to it? I used to believe there wasn't, but now I know there is. The revelation finally came by drawing analogies, my number one tool for noticing patterns. Sometimes, patterns are hard to see in the thing we're looking at directly. But when we look at something similar, suddenly, patterns become obvious. Sometimes we are emotionally charged, like I am about coding on paper, which I used to hate. However, taking another perspective helped me see clearly. So let's talk about a different problem. What do you think about having an LLM write your essay for you? Even when generative AI is allowed, you cheat yourself by outsourcing your cognition to a language model. The purpose of writing lies not only in the final outcome, ready to transfer your thoughts to other minds, but in forming those thoughts as well. What is writing? As said by Donald M. Murray in his famous essay, Teach Writing as a Process, Not a Product, writing is the process of discovery through language. It is the process of exploration of what we know and what we feel about what we know through language. It is the process of using language to learn about our world, to evaluate what we learn about our world, to communicate what we learn about our world. Coding, that is, engineering and building systems, is also a process, not just a product. But here's the catch. You can only get better at delivering products if you master the process. There are no shortcuts. But Tivadar, how to master the process, you might ask? By practice. Lots and lots of practice. And by far the best way to practice is to restrict your tools, to make it as hard as possible. Have you ever seen an athlete with a mask that limits airflow? That's just to make things hard, to help them perform even better when the restriction is lifted. When I was practicing Kung Fu, our trainer instructed us to practice complex moves with our non-dominant hands. This technique is magic. After stumbling around with a wooden stick in my left hand for a couple of minutes, I could effortlessly perform the flashy movements with my right hand, which is my dominant one. Another example, I love playing video games. A significant portion of my life skills are from some game, one way or another. My favorite one by far is Elden Ring, which is notoriously hard. Even the most basic enemies can easily whoop you if you are not on guard. By purposefully denying yourself of the countless tools available in the game, say you refuse to level up, you are forced to get good at reading attack patterns and dodging at the perfect moments. When any boss can one-shot you, there's no room for error. Thinking about all of these life lessons I learned, I suddenly realized that coding on paper fits all the above. It took me a decade and a half, but I'm finally there. Coding on paper forces you to pay attention to details instead of letting autocomplete do it for you, to be deliberate instead of brute forcing your way to a solution through trial and error, and to figure things out on your own instead of outsourcing your cognitive abilities to a large language model. Whenever you are alone with a pen and a piece of paper, there's room for your thoughts. Now, I know that by restricting our tools, we can build the muscles whose work we offload to tools. Muscles that will carry all the cognitive load for you later. This video essay format is not my usual content. I mostly post math explainer videos. Please let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed it, if you think otherwise, or if you just want to say hi. I'm honored to have you here, listening to my random thoughts about slowing down instead of watching the first 2 minutes of every new Cloud Code tutorial. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Cheers, Tivadar.